And hopefully you've got a recording studio that knows the price that an actor pays for doing it too long, and they'll keep their sessions shorter. They'll hire people they know can nail it so that they don't have to make them do it as many times, because you'll eventually just kill a person. Yeah. Anyway, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense to me, at least. Okay, so, you got in to anime, what is it, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago?
Let me think about it. I came here. I guess I did my first anime job about 10 years ago. I moved to LA about 6 or 7 years back.
Well, okay. But, a lot of people are curious about, there's always this really tight group when it comes to doing anime voiceover in particular. Mm-hmm. And they're wondering, how am I going to get in? If you were to choose one particular element of the entire business of voiceover, which one would you heavily emphasize for those, of us wanting to get in?
Well, I don't know if there's one thing, like if you're looking for like a silver bullet for me to give you. I don't know if there is. There are a few things you can do. You have to be pursuing acting. There are a couple people I know in the business who are doing radio first, or I know one guy I really like, Roger Craig Smith is a favorite actor of mine to direct. He was doing stand-up comedy before he got in. But most people just studied acting or did plays or did movies or are still doing it. And they found, someone said, hey, do you want to audition for this? They just stumbled in. So you have to be ready as an actor. You can't, love anime, and that won't be enough. So you got to be studying as an actor. Do plays, try to do film, take voiceover classes. Mm-hmm. The only other piece of advice I can you got to go where the work is, which is predominantly LA. There's a lot of anime in Texas. Most of the anime is done in Texas these days with Funimation. Mm-hmm. There's stuff done in Canada. There's stuff done in New York. A few places, but that pretty much covers it. So you got to go where the work is. And then the other piece of advice I would give is something that someone should have told me when I was in college, which is this is a business, and while enthusiasm for the shows is really helpful, and I love the show. I'm a huge Naruto fan after working. I love all this stuff. I love working on games. I'm a huge geek. I love it. But it's a business, and their time is money, and they need people who are, you need someone who is good now, not someone who could be good later. And you need someone who, who's a professional actor. That's what they're looking for, someone who's a professional actor. So This is a long-winded response, but I guess what I wish someone had told me was, don't write a letter saying, oh my God, I love Dragon Ball Z. I've memorized all of Akira. Please bring me in for an audition. What they want to hear is, I'm an actor. I've been doing this. I've been studying voiceover, or I've been doing theater, and you can include that you enjoy, that you love anime, but don't fangirl or fanboy out on whoever you're approaching to try to get work. Mm-hmm. Which is, I think, what people do at conventions. At least we see people, dressed as Sailor Moon trying to get work, and that's not going to be as effective as if you are an actor who's smartly dressed or well kept and have a reel in your hand, or can show some kind of material that shows that you are either working as an actor or studying to be an actor. That's what they're looking for. Mm. Okay. So the things you got to do is study your craft, try to be trying to be an actor, and then be professional in your pursuit.
Mm. Okay, well, a lot of people, are interested in going in, but the thing is, they feel that they don't have the leg up because, they don't have the networking down because, they don't have the luck of the draw. How important is networking in this industry?
It's probably 50% of it. But I'm very into the anime mafia or voiceover mafia, whatever you want to call it. That didn't happen on day one, though. I mean, I've been doing this a decade. So I know that from the outside, and I felt this way too. You're like, man, they all know each other. I'm never going to get in there. Why can't they let me network with them? But I mean, it's 1,000 points of light, man. You find one crack in the door, and then you slowly slowly pull yourself in. It goes back to what I said about, who you want to work with. You need someone who's really talented, and you need someone who's, a pleasure to spend time with. Especially if you're a lead in a game or a show, you're doing hours and hours and days of recording.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be, personable and professional. And, there are a few exceptions in the business. People who are really talented, but also a little, crazy.
Yeah.
Name names. But, by and large, everyone who works a lot is someone who, has their craft down and is easy to work with. But networking, I think that's how most things work. It's all about people. Everything's about people.
Mm.
And, and the reason, and anime particularly, because it is so technical, again, it's so technical that it's because it's so technical and the budgets are so small. So the people who are producing, who are directing, are slow to bring in new talent because they've got their schedule, they've got their budget, and they're like, well, I could bring in this guy that I've been made aware of. I don't know how good he is. I don't know if we'll finish in the 3 hours that I need to finish in. Or I could go with Sam, because I know that he'll knock it out, he'll get it done, and it'll sound right. Typically, new people don't get in until you've heard from like 3 or 4 sources. You got to try Liam. You got to try Liam. Have you tried Liam? And then when you've heard, like a third person or a fourth person talk somebody up, you're like, okay, they must know what they're doing. But because it's so technical, I think people in the business are slow to take a risk. But it does happen. It just takes time.
Okay. So, auditions, people are always wondering, like, okay, now that I've gotten, my demo, I've gotten some of my training in, and, maybe I might not know a lot of people, maybe an audition. Okay. A lot of people have been asking me, where do you find auditions for this sort of stuff? Or if there is any?
Well, there's different layers to the answer for this one. I'll tell you what I did for anime, and for a long time, anime has been seen sort of as the ugly stepchild of voiceover, which is funny because it's probably the harder kind to do, since it is so technical. And I've said that 50 times. Excuse me.
That's fine.
But there's only a handful of companies that really do it. There's always a new one that will be added every 3 or 4 years, but there's never that many companies doing it. So after I did my first job, I figured out who else in New York was doing it, and I sent them samples of my work. I didn't really have a reel until like the last 3 or 4 years. It was just word of mouth and showing people what I had done before. I used to have an awesome VHS video demo, which people would throw out a window if they got today in today's world. Everything's emailed now. But if you're trying to get into anime work, which is a good place to start for VO overall, it's how I got in, you can figure out who's doing it and, approach them through the mail or through the internet somehow, or going to conventions and, again, professionally, sanely, not wearing the Sailor Moon or an Edward Ulrich costume. Say that you're acting and trying to get in. So all that information is on the web. It's not that hard to find. There's sources to find that stuff out, like Anime News Network and what used to be the forums on Anime on DVD, which is now at, I think, mania.com. There's places to go to learn this stuff. Find out where they are, who's doing it, and then, sanely approach them. That's how you can you can get yourself work. I got myself auditions, just through being persistent, but not too persistent. And then as far as the games and the original animation, that's only going to come with, there's some exceptions, but mostly comes with a voiceover agent. Voiceover agent needs you to be ready with a reel. They're going to be selling you to, casting directors, so they need you to have that 1 minute and 15-second reel that starts with something very close to your own voice, even if it's a little more heroic maybe, or tough or whatever, and then short sound bites of different things you can do. Not big mistake with demos. Side note is that people always make like a 2.5 minute demo, and each thing lasts like 15 seconds. It's like a mini play for every sample. They don't want that. Casting director is only going to usually listen to the first 20 seconds, if that. They're like, is that the guy? No. That guy? No, 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 no. Which doesn't mean don't put any effort into the whole thing, but make sure that you start strong on it and that it's short and sweet.
Okay. Actually, the demo is actually the next part that I want to get into. Okay.
Yeah.
So, people are like, people are really hyped up for the demo, and, I've been hearing a lot of talk about, let's make a character demo or a narration demo or a commercial demo. All right. A few things. First of all, how important is the demo?
It's important to get an agent, and it's important when you're introducing yourself to someone if you're sending a letter to, a company in LA that dubs anime. Well, if you're not sending a demo, you're just sending a piece of paper that says, I like acting, I like anime. That's not going to get you very far. So you do want to have a demo to give people a sense of what you sound like, and an agent needs it. As far as the auditions go, I don't know. I sort of hustle up 50% of my own work through the networking and the people I've worked with in the past, but 50% of it is with the voiceover agent. In my experience, word of mouth is maybe a little more important.
Than the demo.
And the auditions you do are more important than the demo. Once you have an agent, once you've met people, which is where I thought the demo really helped me, it becomes less important. It's not useless. I think when casting directors have got, I've been told that once they're down to like their top two choices, they're like, I can't tell if I should go with Liam O'Brien or Sam Riegel. I just don't know. They'll go to the demo of both of them. I've been told this, and listen to the whole demo once they've got it narrowed down to just two people and be like, we really like what Sam did with that. Sorry, Liam.